Hello, good morning, everybody. How have you been? Uh, Today we'll be introducing a very important concept, which is the Gantt chart. Usually, this kind of chart appears in project management, and it's a very important tool in our field, health education. I found this very useful website by Association for Project Management. It details uh, the Gantt charts components and what is the Gantt chart used for. There's several components. In total, the Gantt chart is a critical path. I like the term they're using here uh, to describe the entire project, especially in terms of scheduling. Here is this diagram here is just a blueprint of Gantt chart. I will provide an example uh, later on. Usually it has several components. On the left panel, where this says A, B, C, D, E, F, this is the task panel, which I will show later. And then also there is the timeline, which runs horizontal, either on top or on bottom of the chart. Most likely, it's going to run across the top. And here we have the bars. These are the time frame of certain tasks. And then we have dependencies as well, which means if one task is dependent upon one another. I will have this page's link uh, inserted under the description of the video, which I will upload to YouTube as usual after our lecture. So let's go to the specific example. What I'm sharing right now is the specific example of the Gantt chart. Here, like I said, the task list or task panel is on the left side, which this is an example of a particular health education campaign. You would have, for example, collect and analyze data. This is the initial stage. And here, what I need to add on is milestones, which marks the date or events of certain task completion. Right now, it is at this example is at the very beginning of the project initiation stage, which is data collection and analysis. And then previously, just a few minutes ago, I talked about dependencies. For example, in this chart, every task is dependent upon one another, which is dependent on the previous task, which means recruitment of participants here in February is dependent on the collection and analysis of data. However, they do overlap in February, which means the stages can be proceeded concurrently at the same time. However, for example, the third one, develop goals and objectives. Usually, it cannot be done before the collection and analysis of data. In this case, it's secondary data. And here you will see the overall depiction of the project uh, in terms of the timeline. And it will conclude in the February of year two. And in terms of time, on top here, like I just mentioned, it could also be, for example, months, weeks, etc. So here it is. It's the general overview of a Gantt chart. Like always, if there's any questions, you're free to ask them later on or leave me a comment or email me. I will get back to you in my earliest convenience. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.